So you finished 2024, 34-1. You had the most wins in program history, and you went all the way to the Elite Eight. First of all, I just want to say congratulations. What do you
Thank you.
think kind of led to your guys' success this past season?
I think that, it was a great year. Obviously, we didn't quite finish the way we wanted to, but, um, the year and the work that went into it was definitely a success. We're, um, we were an older team. We had some experience and we were very intentional about what we wanted to accomplish. So I think that the team has put a lot of energy towards trying to be at their best. We spent our spring, figuring out what it would take for our team to reach the measurements of being one of the better teams in the country. And we just were really intentional about that training all spring, all summer.
Awesome. So like you said, you had a more experienced team. Can we talk a little bit about that team chemistry and kind of what kind of relationship do you think the players had with one another, and do you think that translated onto the court?
This we had seven seniors and well, really eight. One has another year, so she's coming back. But with seven seniors that had played together for 3 years, 2 years going into the season, they knew each other well, and that certainly was, an added benefit. But we also really, we really pushed. We had some young kids that played and worked their way into the lineup. So it wasn't just that we had all those players back. I think, just in our team culture, that our players are really close and they care a lot about each other. So I think that environment really pulls out the best in each individual. I think this team had, they knew what they wanted to accomplish, and it wasn't just on court. Like, it was a big deal to them that at the end of the season, we still, we were great friends and we were great teammates, all the way through the whole process of the season.
That's awesome. Can we talk about one of your team leaders, Olivia Henneman Delape, and just kind of tell me
Yeah.
what it was like to have someone like her kind of grow throughout your program?
Growth throughout the program is exactly the way to say it. I mean, she came in as a middle and, early on, at times would even be playing in practice. Like, she had so much to learn, and we saw the pieces there, but for sure just, a lot of things that she needed to learn, a lot of skills that needed to get better. And then we ended up moving her to the outside, and she came in that weird COVID time when it was kind of weird practicing and stuff like that. So um, she really developed as a player. Her skills got a lot better. And then going into, in that spring of her junior year, I just think she really, she changed her mindset about who she was as a player. And that really made a big difference in the way that she was able to show up out in the court. Like, she knew who she wanted to be. And then things that used to throw her off, whether if she was tired or think she wasn't being successful, she would get distracted by that, or if, teammates weren't, being successful, those things would kind of pull her away from her game plan. But she really in that spring developed the ability and the skills to, stay focused on what she needed to do to be successful as a player for this team. And it definitely showed in her play. I mean, she had so many matches where she was able to just, get kill after kill, and even developed her defense and serve receive as well.
Awesome. And then seeing her kind of take that next step post college and now going on to play at the pro level in Finland, like what does that feel like kind of as a coach, just seeing her take that next step?
It's been so much fun to talk with her in this process because it was pretty fast turnaround, and she wasn't sure she was going to do it, and then she got some really cool offers, and um, it was a pretty quick thing, and it's so different playing pro. The first few weeks and month were, gosh, like the team doesn't really get along great, or the team, it's just different feel than what you're used to in college, and when you're in a program where, we're just really valuing how we interact as teammates and as friends. So that was a cool, interesting transition for her. But just now talking to her about how much better she is as a player, and she's always saying, I don't think I'm there yet. I think I can get a lot better yet. And really fun to see her explore that. and just, the way that she's improving in her game and the way that she probably could still keep improving in her game.
That's really cool that you guys kind of stay in touch and you're still able to, in a way, kind of coach her through that next level. As we kind of look ahead to 2025, I want to ask how's off season going, and what does that look like for your program?
Yeah. What does it look like, right? We're super young. We're really inexperienced. I think we calculated that like 10% of the playing minutes are back this year, just like not a lot back. But we have some pretty cool kids in the gym, and it's a really neat team. Our younger players are really, you know, they care a lot about the team. They care a lot about each other. They love the game of volleyball, so there's just a lot of joy in the gym, and a lot of people working hard. We'll have an off day, and I'll walk by the gym, and there's 5 or 6 players in there just getting after it a little bit. So it's an interesting group, and I don't know how good we'll be. We definitely won't be the same team, but we have big dreams, and I think this group is willing to do the things they have to do to at least try to pursue their dreams.
Awesome. So, like you were saying, you have 10% of the starting lineup coming back, 7 seniors now kind of parting ways. So, how do you begin to kind of rebuild that lineup? Is that something that's going to be constant even through this next season, or kind of where does that start?
That's a great question, and I'm super curious as to how it's going to go. I don't try to project too much. I try to just be open to how the players progress and who can be in those moments. I will tell you that, 2 months ago, it was very rudimentary, the work that we were doing in the gym. And we still need some of that work. Of course, I think you always do. But we're also progressing to where we can be a little more strategic and, a little more exploratory and experimental. And, I think that, this group is really willing to, figure out a way to accomplish the dreams that they have. And they know that it doesn't have to be the path that last year's team or frankly the year before that or the year before that. I mean, we've been in the Sweet 16, the last 4 years. So I don't think that this team feels like they have to do it the same way. And they're really interested in finding the way that's right for them to get to, the whatever end goal that we can get to.
Okay. Are there, would you say, are there any like recruits that you're really looking forward to seeing kind of join the team in the fall and kind of how they add their kind of new element to the team and the team chemistry?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We have a big group coming in and they're pretty athletic. I wouldn't say that there's any one of them that we necessarily are hinging our hopes on or anything, but I think as a group, they're pretty athletic and they'll be able to contribute. We do have a couple transfers on the team that obviously when you're bringing a transfer, you're hoping that they contribute, just because they have that experience that they're able to add a little bit earlier in their career. So, we'll see. I think we have what we need in the returners. We have a pretty good group coming back, but it'll be nice to add, some new energy and a couple of cool athletes into the mix.
Awesome. My last question for you today, as we look forward to 2025, what would you say your kind of motto is for the 2025 fall season?
I mean, when we talk about it as a team right now, is it's being willing and remembering that we're just building. Everything we're doing is building. We're trying to build our boat. We're trying to build our swing, and yeah, we're just building towards everything. Building towards what we want to be. Trying to make sure that the package that we build here this spring allows us to be successful in the fall.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Coach.
Thank you.